Hey, Shalom. We're here for episode 24 of Family Discussion. And we're going to continue speaking on financial literacy, but you can't be financially literate if you don't have your house totally in order. So, what we're going to speak on tonight, before we get into different types of accounts that you should have, we're going to talk about some things dealing with couples, some things dealing with individuals, and things that you need to handle that stem from your childhood. See, we was brought over here on slave ships. We were put under a cruel ruler, and this ruler has introduced some stuff to us that has ruined our lives. And we have to address these things. We can't act like they don't exist. So we're going to talk about tonight uh, a word called narcissist. Now, we're going to show you biblically what this is. We have a name for it, and basically, it's demonic possession. And a lot of us suffer from it. It's a spiritual thing, but the world wants to treat it like it's a, 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 a natural thing, a carnal thing. They want to send you to therapy, and you're getting counseling, and then you're getting medication. But I want to pose a question to you. If the counseling and medication is working, why do you have to get on the medication and never get off? Why are you taking this medication continually? See, I saw where Yahweh went around casting out demons, and it was immediate. See, it wasn't a thing where you had to go around and get medicine and run to Walgreens and CVS and Walmart for the rest of your life, paying all the money out you had put aside to be drugged up so that you can't function properly. See, I'm going to show you what the issue is, and then we're going to show you the solution. Now, whether or not you listen, that's on you. All right. So we're going to go now to let me see if I can pull this up. See what it does. All right, cool. All right, so let's present our screen. We're going to go right now to the blue letter, and we're going to go to 1 Samuel 15:22. We're going to show you later the symptoms of narcissism. We're going to give you a definition of narcissism. But before we do that, I want to kind of lay a foundation. I hope y'all have had a good week. Hope y'all reviewed from last week. We're going to start off with the issue tonight. And at the end of the class, we're going to come back in and talk specifically about finances because we want to keep hammering on that in January. Okay, so we're in First Samuel. So at this time, we had a king by the name of Saul. And Saul was going to battle. Saul was given a commandment from the Lord that he was not to engage the enemy until the prophet came. But not only did Saul disobey and engage the enemy, Saul took the animals that they had taken and he started doing awesome. Now the prophet comes up and he's letting them know the Lord is not pleased with him. From this point forward, Saul, did I say Samuel? I meant to say Saul. I meant to say King Saul. King Saul did it. Samuel was a prophet. Okay. So from this point forward, the Lord would no longer deal with King Saul. So let's look at something right here. Verse 22 of 1 Samuel 15. And Samuel said, Samuel is the prophet. So let's get back. I think I misstated and said Samuel when I was saying Saul. I had to listen to that later. And Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of ram. So Saul's going to try to cover up his misdeed, his sin, his crime by taking some of the spoils and doing an offering unto the Lord. And so the prophet says, has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying? Wouldn't it have been better to obey? Always remember this. It finishes that verse with, to obey is better than sacrifice. Let's go to verse 23. He's going to, the prophet Samuel is going to expand it even more. For, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. You see that? For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So he's calling what King Saul did rebellion because he's going against what he was told to do. And Samuel goes further. He says, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. So stubbornness, you're already in sin. You don't have to do an action. Just when you always bucking up against your husband. That's stubbornness. It's a sin. Idolatry. You have to understand why stubbornness is idolatry. Make a note of that in your head. We're going to address that in a second. Okay? We're going to get that witchcraft. We know iniquity is sin, and we're going to address why stubbornness is idolatry. Okay? Now let's go on to see what Samuel says. We're going to start from the top of verse 23 again. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. From this day forward, the kingdom was taken from King Solomon. He went out, he won a battle. So a lot of people would say, look what the Lord did. Then he turns around and he's going to look holy. He's going to sacrifice, trying to fool the people. See, but the Lord looks at your heart. All right. Now let's look at this witchcraft real quick, okay? Let's go to Exodus chapter 22 and 18. I know I told you we're going to talk about narcissism, but I'm laying a foundation. Exodus 22 and 18. Now, this is the law as was given to Moses, and Moses gave to the people. Now, we just saw that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So, what were we to do? Talk to the witches. Exodus 22 and 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. See, this is a sin unto death. This is one of those things that Paul said, I don't even tell you to pray for. You don't pray for a sin that's unto death. You can't pray for this person. So let's go look this further. Let's look now at Colossians 3 and 5 because we're going to talk about idolatry. We're going to lay this foundation with these couple of verses. Then we're going to go in and look at some definitions. and then we're gonna come back to the Word of God and show you where it even describes a narcissist in the Bible. See, because even when you deal with Eve, Eve rebelled. You see what I'm saying? Eve was guilty of the sin of witchcraft. So let's get into Colossians real quick. Mortify, that word mortify. You if you go take a dead body to a the people who handle the dead bodies, a mortician, mortify, mortician, all of that has the same root. It's talking about death. So it says, mortify or kill, therefore, your member. So we want to know what these members are that we're being told to kill. Okay? Mortify, therefore, your members which are upon the earth. What are these members? Fornication, right? That's talking about sexual sin. Uncleanness, inordinate affection. All of this is talking about sexual sin. And you're so attached to it that the writer calls it your member. These are part of you. And to take them off, you feel like you're losing yourself. Let's read from the top Colossians 3 and 5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness. What did we say? What did we say earlier? Stubbornness and covetousness is both the same, right? And it goes on to say, which is idolatry. Remember, we said that stubbornness is as a sin of idolatry. So covetousness is idolatry. You see how we tie that together? So therefore, let's see what the Paul says about covetous. Um, let's go to Exodus 20 and 17. See, you can't have your life in order. You can't have the Lord blessing you and you got all of this wickedness going on. And so what we're going to show you is that these are demons. See, it just told you to mortify these members. It told you to kill them. Now we're talking about idolatry. We're talking about idolatry, and idolatry is also covenant. So let's look at instead of going to Exodus, let's go to Deuteronomy 5 and 21. It's the same thing, but I want to show you something. Exodus starts off says, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife." Okay. Now we're going to show you in Deuteronomy how to word it. And I'm just typing like crazy. Let me correct that. I don't like the way that looks. I hit the caps button. What did I tell you? Deuteronomy 5 and 21. We're going to go. Let's look at this real quick. Same commandment, different wording. So you see what we're talking about. All right. So Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 20. So it reads, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house. That word desire, that is the same as the word covet. So neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor. See, you can't desire what belongs to your neighbor. That is sin. That's idolatry. See, you have to understand what sin is, because when you don't understand what sin is, you go around doing anything. And then when you know to do right, You gotta do it. All right? Um, let's go to Micah 2, and then we're gonna jump into some definitions, okay? Let's go to Micah 2, verse 1. Micah 2 and 1. Here we go. It reads like this. Starts off and says, woe. That means destruction. Woe to them that devise iniquity. Now, we just read over in 1 Samuel chapter 15 and 23 that stubbornness is iniquity. So if you're sitting there, I'm going to speak to you, wives. You're sitting there. Well, let's put it this way. You're laying in bed and you're thinking of ways to buck up against your husband. That's stubbornness. It's iniquity, right? It's idolatry. It's covetousness. So let's look at it again. Woe to them that devise iniquity, because we want to read this and only think it's talking about Esau. It's talking about your evil blood. And work evil upon their beds. We said we're going to talk about when you laying down. You waking up in the morning, and instead of it being a good morning, you're already devising iniquity. When the morning is light, they practice it. So that evil that you're doing, you won't get up and cook. You've already decided you're not going to wash clothes. You lay in the bed thinking about the man at work that you're going to holler at today. Or you're going to work, as soon as you get in your car, you're calling the man. See, let's read it from the top. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. So you plan that thing because it is in the power of their hand. Verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence. What do? They covet. And houses out there dealing with another man's wife. I mean, dealing that too for men and for women, married women dealing with another woman's man and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. You see that? Leading men astray, leading women astray. It's wickedness. Um, let me write something down here. I want to visit a verse before we log out of here today. It's in Proverbs. Uh, I hope y'all catching on. This verse just popped in my head, but I don't want to bring it out yet. Let's go now to, let me see. Let's look at narcissism. Let me see if I can stop sharing. Go back to present. All right. That were so we were just talking about something, and so I want to show you real quick. So we were just showing and talking about coveting a man's house, coveting a man's wife, right? And so this definition says about narcissism promiscuity. It says, according to a study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationship, people with a narcissistic personality are more likely to sleep with many partners and to cheat in a relationship because they're always looking for something better. Promiscuity is often attributed to female narcissists, but this stereotype should be approached with caution and avoided. Okay? I wanna show you, can I get just a definition of narcissism? I don't have one pulled up. Let me get one. Let me get one real quick. So, a person with a narcissistic personality, narcissistic, disorder, personality disorder, they will, be more likely to cheat. Now, this word narcissism, I think that it needs to be cleared up, because what you're talking about is you're trying to clear up what we know to be sin. And they won't say sin because they don't believe in God. So what they say is narcissist, and they wanna get words like that and call it a mental disorder. No, you got a demon. We're gonna show that, okay? And you're not gonna fix that demon by, dealing with it as a mental disorder only. I'm not telling you not to go get therapy. What I'm telling you is you gotta acknowledge that you're sin, and you're going to have to address it, okay? You're gonna have to acknowledge it. Yeah, by acknowledging it, you're gonna have to confess that thing. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to study scriptures that are dealing with the thing that you're having problems with. If you're having problems with promiscuity, then you need to read about adultery if you're married. If you're not married and you're just going around there sleeping around, you need to read about that. You need to read about how to overcome, okay? Let's present our screen real quick. Alright, have right here, we look up narcissist. It says narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health. You see what I'm saying? They call it mental health. Is it now they're right in the sense that it is in your mind, but your mental health professionals can't help you with your mind. That's why they put you on drugs. You take Prozac and everything, depression, anxiety, when you need to do is go ahead and search these scriptures, and the scripture says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of importance. Listen to this. They need and seek too much attention. You see that? Now, this is just totally worded incorrectly. If they have such a high sense of their own importance, then why do they need to seek too much attention? See, what you should have said was they present themselves in a way that you think this person has it together. You would think that they have a high sense of their own importance, but in reality, they need validation from others. So let's go right here. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire. Okay, I got out of that. Let me get back to it. All right. And they want people to admire the, let's see if it'll let me expand it. All right. So let me go out of here because y'all not seeing this. So let me do this real quick. This won't take but a second. This won't take but a second. Let me give y'all the full version. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It says narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. Now, can you imagine being married to someone like that? You're married to them, but they need others to validate them. And then when you go places, you wonder why certain women won't sit down. They're always up at the men's faces. They're always dancing around. They have this condition. Let's keep reading. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand. Listen to that. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. Okay, I want you to focus in on that. They can't care about the feelings of others because I'm going to show you in Ephesians chapter 4. It says just the same thing. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, see, now they're saying that this is a mask, right? But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self-worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. So they can't take criticism. So when you go to them, say, "Hey, sis, what you did here was inappropriate." Oh, they're gonna blow up. So watch this. Why am I bringing this out tonight? I'm about to show you. Second paragraph. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationship. Do you know it costs money to get divorced? Could you imagine being married to somebody for 15 years, you have 2 children, you get divorced. She takes the children. She hasn't even thought about how she's going to, take care of those children. So now you're looking at, I gotta send money out for child support, and then this person is so reckless, you're always having to come up with monies that were unplanned to support her bad habits so that your children are not outdoors. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work. They have problems keeping a job because they can't keep their mouth shut. See, and they have rules at work. And when you start running around on the job and the other your coworkers feel uncomfortable about your behavior, they go to HR. And see, when you're low on the totem pole, they don't call you and say, "We're letting you resign and we're getting rid of you because you're running around." They do that to people who are higher up. When you're low on the totem pole, they just find another reason to get rid of you. You're constantly late. You're causing conflict in the office. And they don't call it what it is. But what it is, you're cheating. You're running around and people are uncomfortable with you. So it causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, or financial matters. You see why we're talking about this? It says people with narcissistic personality disorder may be generally unhappy and disappointed when they're not given the special favors or admiration that they believe they deserve. They may find their relationship troubled and unfulfilling, and other people may not enjoy being around them. Now watch this. Treatment for narcissistic personality disorder centers around talk therapy, also psychotherapy. Okay, that's bull jump. If you do what you want to, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you don't do that. I'm about to show you how we're gonna help you tonight. Okay? Now let's go back. Let's go back real quick before we talk about that anymore. Now let's go to Ephesians chapter 4, okay? Stop sharing our screen. Gonna get back to the blue letter. We're gonna look at narcissism. So you remember we said that they lack feelings, right? Uh, let's go Ephesians 4 and 17. Why is my blue letter not? I tell you what, we'll just pull it up again and see if it'll let us do that. It's not gonna let us do that. So we're gonna close this and come back. Um, I'm on here 4 different times. I don't know how I did it. We're gonna make it work here tonight. So, all right, so we got the blue letter show. Let me stop presenting. It is not letting me get out of here. All right, so we're gonna go to the blue letter. There you go. We're gonna see me stop sharing. There we go. Now I go back to sharing. And I got two different screens. I hope y'all are seeing me. Let me close this one. All right, y'all back with me. I think I got everything squared away now. All right. We're good now. We're good. All right. Share screen. All right. So I told you Ephesians chapter 4, verse 17. I hope this is making sense. All right. So this is what is written. Verse 17. Ephesians 4, verse 17. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk. So we're talking about Israelites, but he says Gentiles. Because when you behave like a heathen, you're a heathen. And Gentile just means heathen. See, you're not getting into the kingdom, is what he's saying, if you don't change your behavior. That's what it means by walk. Let's read that again. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity where? Of their mind. So where's the problem? In the mind. You see what I'm saying? So he says, walk anymore in the vanity of your mind. Verse 18, having the understanding dark. Having the understanding dark. So where you were enlightened, you had come to Christ. You had all this joy first, but you weren't rooted and grounded. You did not stop doing them things behind closed doors. You were still running around. You never removed those folks off your social media. You see what I'm saying? You still knew how to get in touch with them. You needed to move to a different job. If you had to run around on that, you got to remove yourself. You got to protect yourself from not going back into that situation. And when you don't, the Lord will strip from you what He gave you. Your understanding will be dark. So let's keep reading. Having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God. What does it mean to be alienated? Where you were once in communion with the Most High, you no longer are. That's what happened to King Saul. He was selected to be king, but then when unrighteousness was found in him, he was alienated from the life of God. See, Adam was a son of God, but when wickedness was found in him, when his wife went and stood there talking to another man and took on the doctrines of that man, she calls him lukewarm. They lost everything. Think about it. Think about it. Put it in today's terms. You're in a house. This is what narcissism does. They don't think beyond that moment's pleasure. You've been working, you've been putting away, and in one moment, you throw all that away. See, it's not something to play with. Let's start at verse 18 again. Having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them. Remember we talked about the vanities in the mind? The ignorance is in them. Ignorance means that you know to do something, but you ignore it. You know the truth. Because of the blindness of their heart. And if you were to look up that word heart, it's the same word translated as eye. Because of the blindness in their heart. See, the ignorance that is in them. There's something in them. It's giving you a hint of what this narcissism is. So watch this, verse 19. Remember we were talking about they can't even feel what they're doing to another person? This is how bad it is once your understanding is darkened. Verse 19, who being past feeling, they can't even feel anymore. Who being past feeling had given themselves over to lasciviousness. That's all kind of lust, lewd behavior, just all kind of any kind of sex goes with anybody. If you're married to a person and you read up on narcissism and read the narcissistic traits, this person is out there sleeping around. And I'm telling you, they are. See, they giving themselves over unto lasciviousness. Watch this. To work all uncleanness with greediness. Why greedy? Because they're only thinking about themselves. Verse 20. But ye have not so learned Christ. See, when they came to Christ, that's not what they were taught. But what did they do? They held on to this stuff in verse 17, in their mind, in the vanity of their mind. In them, in verse 18, they had ignorance in them. There was something in them that caused them to ignore the word of God. They didn't deal with it. And so now what happens? They're out there looking in verse 19 for every kind of sex. Nothing satisfies them. They're not a happy person. And they're just getting up in folks' faces and trying to get folks to tell them that they're great and they will do anything to be pleased. Men, let's be honest. The type of women that we slept with, they always looked for validation from us. All we had to do is tell them how fine they were. Once we tell them that, we can lay down with them. All we had to do was get them to laugh at something we're saying. Once they did that, we knew we had them. See, ladies, if you stand up in a man's face and talk to him, and he's calling you baby, my granddaddy used to say what he's really saying in the back of his mind is baby bear. A man will be calling you a whore in his mind, but you're looking so good he wants to lay with that whore. I'm just be honest. You're not getting away with anything. You're not getting away with it with God, and the man dealing with you, he's not gonna have nothing to do with you down the road. But the man that married you messing that up. All right, verse 21, let's go. If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him as the truth is in Jesus. So we're talking about, let's go back to verse 20, make that make sense. But ye have not so learned Christ. If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him as the truth is in Jesus. Ladies, y'all all claim y'all hear from the Lord. You can't hear from your husband. You don't want to study with your husband. You claim you hear from God. Verse 22. Now, this is how you get rid of narcissism. Okay? It says that you put off. What do you have to do? You had to get rid of those people that you dealt with before. Come from amongst them and be ye separate, is what the word says. It says that ye put off concerning the former conversation. That's talking about behavior. That you put off concerning the former behaviors, the old man. What do you have to do? Get rid of the old man. Why? Let's keep reading. Which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. See, we're talking about lust. That's narcissism. A narcissist is a liar that lusts after anyone who gives them attention. Okay? And this is talking about deceitful lust because this person does not feel good about how they carry themselves. And so they go out there and put on a mask and try to fool everybody that they have it together when they are just a big lump of self-destruction. All right, so we started off in verse 17 and said that they have vanity of their mind, right? Now we're down here to verse 23, and it says, when we talked about putting off the old man in verse 22, verse 23 says, and be renewed where? Not in your mind, but in the spirit of your mind. See, we're talking about demonic possession. We're talking about spirit. We're not talking about carnal things upon this earth, and you're gonna be able to take drugs, get rid of it. What good is it to take a drug and then go meet your maker and you got demons? You didn't do what he told you. He told you to put off these things, right? Watch this, verse 24. Well, let's go to 23 again. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind. You got a spirit in your mind. You remember the Lord said that he was going to give you the spirit of his son? So before that, you didn't have it. So what spirit did you have? Why did the son have to come? Why was he casting out demons? You didn't see prophets walking around casting out demons. But then when got in captivity to the Romans, when they took over Jerusalem, when Christ came, the Romans were ruling us. And what did Christ have to do? Go around casting out demons. Why? Because we had intermingled with the demons. See, we're dealing with them on a constant basis. You can't do that and not take on their persona, not take on their devil, not commit idolatry, whereby you bring in this stuff. And I'm about to show you how you open up the door for Satan to come in, okay? Verse 24, and that you put on the new man, which after Yahweh is created in righteousness and true holiness. See, Yahweh is righteous. He is true holiness. And when you put on the new man, now you're back to being like the Father. But how do you put on the new man? Verse 25 is going to tell us. Verse 25, wherefore putting away lying. This is how you open the door to Satan. You laid in bed, as we read over in Micah chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. You laid in bed and you played with these deceitful thoughts in your head, thoughts of other men. You're all out on social media, searching, looking at other men. You see what I'm saying? Every time your husband asks you what you're doing, you lie. Every time he comes in, you're jumping out of that page to another page. You see what I'm saying? And men, you can lie too. Let's be honest about it. Because the truth of the matter is, we like to go around and say that men can't cheat on their wife because men can have multiple wives. Anytime you're lying, you cheat. If you're going to deal with other women, be open with it. You owe her that. When you lie to your wife, you have cheated. Okay? It goes both ways. The difference is, ladies, you were told to obey your husband. I'm trying to figure out how you say you're honoring God and you can't obey your husband. Let's keep reading. Let's see how to put off the old man and put on the new man. Verse 25, wherefore putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor. That word neighbor just means someone close to you. So it's telling you when you talk to your husband, always be true. So therefore, if you gone and done wrong, guess what you're gonna tell your husband? The wrong that you done. And why do we speak truth? For we are members one of another. So watch this. So you remember we were reading about the narcissist and how when you confront them, they get angry? Verse 26. It says, be ye angry and sin not. Don't go to lying when you get angry. Where were you today? I went to work and I came straight home. No, you lie. Coming home smelling like another man. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. So if you did lie, guess what you gotta do? You gotta correct it immediately. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. And when you don't come back and correct it, guess what you do? Become demonically possessed. Verse 27 tells you that. Neither give place to the devil. See, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil. When you're a liar, you've given place to the devil, right? And it goes on and says, let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that needs. Because when you give alms, it helps to deliver you from a lot of this stuff. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. Those conversations you're having with that other man, that's corrupt communication. And reminiscing about the old days, that's corrupt communication. But that which is good to the use of edifying, you're not edifying him. It's not your job to teach a man. Stay away from him. That it may minister grace unto the hearer. All right. So we good with that? All right. So now we're going to go back. Let's stop sharing that screen for a second. It don't look like we're going to get to the financial part tonight. That's okay. We come back next week, Lord willing. Let's do this. Let's stop sharing our screen briefly. All right. So let's see what we want to present. Let's go to more stuff on narcissism. Um, let's look at narcissism and lying. Okay. All right. So here we go. Narcissists lie more and believe they are better at lying than other people. What do narcissists do? They lie more than other people. They're liars. They're habitual liars. You can ask a narcissist, um, what did you cook today? They're going to stretch. They can't just tell you they cooked hamburgers. All of a sudden, they had steak today. And in their mind, they say it's still beef. It ain't no big deal. They always lie. Nothing is truthful. And if you sit down and talk to them, they always got stories where they build themselves up to be more than what they are. Remember the scripture say, don't think more highly of yourselves than you ought to. All right, so narcissists lie more because they are better at lying than other people. So when you have somebody you're dealing with and they're always lying, you start questioning yourself, do they know they're lying? Yes, they know they're lying. They don't think you're smart enough to catch on. Don't let them twist you around for reality. They don't have a sense of what's true and what's not anymore in the sense that they look at it and say, this lie is going to lead to my destruction. They know they're lying. They can't weigh the consequences. They don't understand that it destroys your relationship, and neither do they care. Remember, their understanding is darkened. Basically, you're dealing with a fool. You're arguing with a fool. Don't even argue with them because they thrive on attention, even if it's negative. Narcissists lie more and believe they are better at lying than other people. They view other people as objects. This is what you're dealing with. This person doesn't love you, and you have to come to grips with that. So you got two children with this narcissist, and you got to decide, can you deal with being there? And I'm telling you, before you decide to leave, you think about what's going to happen to your two children when this narcissist has them alone. See, you're the only barrier between that narcissist and your children. And when you leave, your children are going to be turned into the same thing that that other person is. See, they call it daddy issues. It's not daddy issues. Mama had the inability to love because she was so angry with the men, not the man, the men who slept with her and left her. She won't come to grips with she opened her ladies for every one of them. See, it's not her fault, it's them sorry men. They view other people as objects and feel completely justified in exploiting them. She is going after you for what she did with other men. She's angry and taking it out on you, and she will take it out on your children. Narcissists lie to get their own way by withholding information. What do? They lie. They withhold information, right? Or deliberately misleading people so they can upset them. What are they trying to do? They're trying to upset you. So if you show them that you're upset, inside they're laughing. They love it because they're getting back at their past lovers. Narcissistic liars lie to protect their ego, manipulate other people, and to boost their own reputation while diminishing the reputation of their competitors. They view you as a competitor in your own house. Remember the Lord said, your enemy is going to be of your own house. Remember, he told Adam that your neighbor is going to stand at your door, and you must overcome him. What do you mean by neighbor? Those close to you. Your narcissistic wife, your narcissistic children that you raise. Last sentence. Narcissists are often experts at deception. They're only an expert if you play along. You have to tell a harlot she's a harlot. It's just that simple, and don't back off of it. Stop trying to understand why. You're dealing with a person who lies, they're wicked. Now you got 2 choices, leave or watch her with the word. Does that mean she's gonna change? No, but you chose her, and if you got children with her, I advise you to stay and raise your children and don't allow them to go this route. You jack them up for lying. You let them know lying's not gonna be because what happened with your wife is no one chastised her for lying. She was able to get away with it. She learned to manipulate. Alright, so let's go now to, go to, eh, let's look at something real quick. I think we already did that. Let's leave this right here for tonight. Let's go back to the scripture. Let's go to First Peter 3 and 1. Let's go to First Peter 3 and 1. We're gonna revisit that some more next week, but, I wanna leave it. I don't want the class to be just reading definitions, okay? Uh, First Peter 3 and 1. Won't take me but a second to get there. First Peter 3 and 1. Because we're talking about putting off the old man and putting on the new man, and you need to know what the Lord told you. Well, I'm can't spell tonight. We don't want y'all to go around thinking that you're right with the Lord and you're not. And what I'm trying to show you right now is why you're having financial difficulty in the sense that we have a person who has trouble at school, has trouble at work, has trouble with relationships, period. And if they're in your household, it's going to affect your income. Every time you think you're getting ahead, that person loses a job. And it affects every time you put money away, you look at it, you about to go bankrupt. First Peter 3 and 1. It says, likewise, ye wives. Remember I told you we're kind of focusing on women tonight? Be in subjection to your own husbands. Who? Your boss at work, No, it says your own husband. You see what I'm saying? Don't go to work with don't go to lunch with your boss. The only man you should go to lunch with is your husband. Your boss should not have access to you all the time. If you got a phone at your desk, that's the only phone number he needs. He don't need to be calling you at home. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husband, that if any obey not the word. So if you have a husband who does not obey the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wise. It's not talking about you talking, that's talking about your behavior. That word conversation means your behavior. You're gonna win them over by doing what's right. But then if you're constantly out there doing what's wrong, hey, you can't win them over. Verse 2, while they behold your chaste behavior coupled with fear. Fear of who? Fear of them. I showed you that last week where it says that you have to fear your husband. That's what reverence means. Remember we went over that last week? Uh, let me see. So let's follow that one up with Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. If you are dealing with a narcissist, you have to remember last week I was showing you where it says you don't give your preeminence to anyone, and it says it's better that your wife and your children have to come to you than you go to them. You don't have your wife's name on all of your accounts. You can't because if she's a narcissist, she wants to destroy you, make you work more hours, get a second job. Then you're gonna start hearing things from her like it's a man's job to provide for the house while she's constantly destroying it. No, you make her work the second job. She gonna do all that, but you control the money. You don't put her name on it, so that way she can't go in there and pull everything out. I'm not saying you don't give your wife money. We're talking about a narcissist, and if you're gonna stay with her, you're going to have boundaries. And part of those boundaries are she can't control nothing. You better listen. If not, she's gonna destroy you. You're gonna die broke. Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. As what? As unto the Lord. So you can't say that you're serving the Lord if you don't submit to your husband. If you're sitting there devising a way to destroy your home, you're a narcissist. If you're constantly lying, you're a narcissist. Okay? I'm gonna just tell you like it is. Now, how do you get rid of that narcissist? You put off that old man that was wicked. That thing is in your head. Let me find something real quick. Let me find something real quick. That thing is in your head. That's what the battle is. And you need to figure out how you're going to how you're going to deal with it. And I'm talking to you now, man. You got to decide how you're going to deal with it. Because if you have one who refuses to fight this thing, because it's not impossible. You just saw in Ephesians, all the powers in their hand. They're choosing to stay that route because they love going out there living lasciviously. They love out there. They love going out there having sex with this person person, and that's what they're having trouble breaking away from. And they love coming home lying, and you beat your head against the wall, trying to get them to live right. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole game with them. And eventually, well, let's say it this way: if you don't have children, I'm gonna put it like this: run, run. Let's go to Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3, real quick. I know we're at an hour already, but I want to get this one out. And we didn't get where we wanted to tonight. We didn't even finish all the verses I have. But I want to hit this real quick. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. We're talking about the mind. We're talking about lying, and I'm gonna show you what this person has to do. Let's go to, 2 Corinthians 10 and 3. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh," so we have these human bodies, right? We do not war after the flesh. So we are in a battle, and what we don't do is go tit for tat. So because she's going to go out there risking her body, contracting STDs and trying to blame it on you, all that means is you gotta get safer. You might need you a new wife. You see what I'm saying? For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. See, when a person won't let go of that old man, they created a fortress, a whole castle in their head, in their mind. And so what they'll do is they'll make it look or appear as if they've come to the Lord. They'll wrap their head, they'll throw on fringes, they'll shower wine, but the minute you're not looking, they're doing the same thing that they used to do. See, the stronghold has to be pulled down. If a person comes to the Lord, go back and judge everything that they've been taught, everything they thought they knew. But when you have to drag life into the truth, she's not dealing with a stronghold, bro. Imma tell you, if you can't present the word to them and they readily and happily accept, you got a problem on your hands. See, the word sifts through all this stuff for you. The problem is we don't wanna believe tells us they're not interested. Let's go to verse 5. So now let's go back to verse 4. It says, "Through God to the pulling down of strongholds." Verse 5, "Casting down imagination." You see we're talking about the mind? The strongholds in the mind. We have to cast down those thoughts. And when we're casting down those thoughts, what we're doing is the demons have built houses within those walls, and we're giving them no place to live. Casting down imaginations and every high thing. See? High thing that exalted itself. See, we're not talking about things, we're talking about itself against the knowledge of Yahweh. Who stood against the knowledge of Yahweh in the garden? Who did it tell you not to give place to? The devil. Casting down imaginations, every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity. You gotta make a slave of this thing. It's got to obey you. Your mind has to follow the direction of the word of God, and bringing into captivity every thought. You thought you couldn't control your thoughts? Do this for me then. Let's see if we can control it. Close your eyes for a second. Before you close it, I want you to look at this water bottle, right? And it's nothing fancy, it's great value. I want you to picture that great value. Close your eyes. I hope you can see that. On there it says great value. Picture that in your head. Keep your eyes closed. Now erase that from your head, okay? Keep your eyes closed and erase the great value from your head. Now I want you to open your eyes, and I'm holding this coaster. Picture this coaster. Close your eyes. Keep that picture in your head. Now erase that picture and focus on my screen, 2 Corinthians 10 and 5. You see how easy that was? You just brought every thought captivity. You see that? You control your mind. See, the eyes are a light to the soul. What you put in front of your eyes matters. That's why if you have a guy at work that you've been dealing with, you can't put yourself in a place where you're seeing him over and over again. You're not that, nor are you trying to get away from it. If you did, you'd be honest with your husband and say, "Look, Joe, this guy here at work, I was inappropriate with. And if he asks you how inappropriate you were, you can't lie. And you gotta tell him, I need to leave that job." You see what I'm saying? Now, if you just met this guy, he tells you he wants to marry you, you agree, and you say the guy on the job, you gotta tell him. The minute you get somebody else, the old guy is going to prove that you're always the minute. All right, so casting down, verse 5, casting down imaginations, every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity. We're gonna make slaves of every thought to the obedience of Christ. So we pull down those walls. Now the devil has lost his home. You swept yourself clean. So guess what he does? Bring 7 more devils back worse than himself. But how do you keep them out? Every time they put a thought in your head, you change that thought and you bring a scripture in that goes against it. You see what I'm saying? So when the devil is trying to get you to go back around the same people you used to be around, you're saying, "Come from amongst them and be ye separate," because that's what the word says. You remember when Satan came to tempt Christ and he kept saying, "It is written," and then he quoted the scripture that was written. That's what you gotta do. The Bible says to speak to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. See, I think that's second Colossians. I think that's not second, I'm sorry. Colossians 3:16. All right? Let's go to verse 6. And having in readiness to revenge all disobedience. Now it's talking about what you're going to do after you fixed yourself. Now notice in verse 5, the thoughts are going to still come, but you're going to bring into captivity every to the obedience of Christ. So when the thoughts come, you're going to say what the word says, not go with those thoughts and have evil communication coming out of your mouth. Okay? That's how you keep the demons from taking control of you. They're gonna continually come at you. You're gonna be tried by fire, but you're going to come out like pure gold. So now that you've gotten yourself in position, guess what you're gonna do? Verse 6, and having in readiness to revenge all disobedience. You see what I'm saying? And having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. So once you've gotten to the point you have trained yourself to handle these things, guess what you're gonna do? Now you're gonna revenge all disobedience. You're gonna go out there to your brothers, and you're going to teach them to do the same. Let's stop right there. I didn't get where I wanted to. Wanted to talk about, oh, just we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop. So next week we'll just jump right into 401ks and stuff like that, Roth IRA, and then we will follow up on it. So, and that first part will take us no more than about 15 minutes, okay? I don't want to hold you 15 minutes longer tonight. And I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Yahweh. Our Lord is powerful. He gave us all the keys, all the tools we need to be successful. It's by choice that you're still dealing with wicked. Thoughts are gonna come, but you shouldn't go no further than thoughts. You should immediately pull them down to the obedience of Christ. You should immediately, when you have thoughts of going out there dealing with someone who's not your husband, lady, you should immediately come back. and address that issue. And I had written down a verse I want to go to tonight, but we'll get there next week. Okay. Love y'all. I hope this is edifying. I'm telling you, you cannot get ahead while you're living in sin. Okay? You gotta address this stuff. I'm gonna get back to log off. I'm going to stop sharing. So I love y'all again. I'm gonna type in here good night. Hit send, and we're gonna end the live.